Last night's One Piece was a real treat because they made Lucci versus Luffy look amazing. And when it came to them fighting against each other, there were a lot of sequences that were reminiscent of Tom and Jerry, which makes perfect sense because Oda himself in an interview has said before that for the concept of Gear 5, think if he were to suddenly start drawing Tom and Jerry. But despite how good this fight was, it wasn't even the most interesting part of this episode, because we're also treated to what Vegapunk's theory is on what devil fruits are. And so his theory goes that all things are brought into this world by people's desires. And so long as people are yearning for something, the existence of that thing will never disappear. So basically the devil fruits are like manifestations of people's desires for a better life or better evolution in this world. Which means yes, somebody thought it would be better for human evolution in their mind to become a jacket person. But that also means that there were a lot of people enslaved in this world that all throughout history always thought about Sun God Nika saving them. And because they always kept this thought in their mind, Sun God Nika ended up being real. And personally, I think it all comes down to the treasure trees that were introduced in One Piece. First, you got Treasure Tree Adam, which is the strongest tree with the best wood on it. That's what the Sunny's made out of. And then you have the Eve tree, which we've never seen, but we've seen the roots of it all the way down in Fishman Island. Now, personally, I think that the devil fruits grow from the Eve tree, and maybe when people die or something, their dreams, their thoughts go into this tree, and then they go up and be born as fruit. So essentially, the roots would be down in Fishman Island, the top of the tree at Mary Joa, that's where the fruits are born with the Eve tree. And this might be the secret that Dofi was talking about that was inside the world government. Because if you have access to the world's thoughts and dreams, you can make and create whatever devil fruit you really want. And that's the reason why they've been trying to erase Sun God Nika from existence, because if people aren't thinking of the name, it can't be born again as a fruit. But I think the way it works is the more people that desire and dream of something, so the more people that are dreaming of Sun God Nika, maybe the more or the sooner the fruit will grow at the top of the Eve tree, and then it eventually will fall. And if this treasure tree is as big as we think it is because of the roots that we saw on Fishman Island, then it'd probably be impossible for the world government to keep track of every fruit that grows up here. So as far as they're concerned, so long as they know that people exist that are still saying Sun God Nika, they can never be too sure that the fruit will not grow and fall from this tree. Which is why for 800 years, whether you think it exists or not, you'll search for it because you can't afford for it to be true. But of course, that's where Shanks comes in, because he got that fruit and he made sure that he could give it to the right person, which I'm sure he thought was going to be Ace. But it's just that it turned out to be Luffy. But we know that the world government can't permanently keep these dreams from growing on the tree because, like Blackbeard told us all the way back in Jaya, a man's dreams will never die. So essentially, the more that they oppress the world to keep Sun God Nika from being uttered, the more people are going to think about Sun God Nika, and they created their own problem. But again, this is just my theory, which is based off of Vegapunk's theory. So if his theory ends up being wrong, then my theory is wrong. Granted, there could be some components of it that are true, but Vegapunk is still the smartest man in the world, so his theory is something that I would still lean into at least a little bit. But regardless, it was good to finally get some information on what devil fruits are after however long you've been following the series. Some of y'all are like me and been reading for decades, so it took you decades to get this information, and some of y'all were binging, so in less than a year you were able to get this information. Either way though, I want to know what you think about devil fruit, so if you have a comment or something, you can leave that down below.